Alright, so we were talking about character design, and another aspect of character design, is the idea that it's perfectly fine to get references to things. A lot of traditional animators use mirrors to, check facial expressions, check body language, things like that. But a lot of illustrators and artists and, animators use photographs as a reference. So it's like this particular artist, did out the pose, and, it's a upward shot going right with the hand and the positioning of the arm and the body language right, and they tried to wear roughly the same outfit, give or take. And so it's a good reference point, and you can see, in the style of the position of the face and the body language and the position of the fingers and whatnot, how this person used the photo, right? So a lot of times people will try to do poses and just kind of, get the body language right. This is where doing simple drawings, doing the wireframe, little skeletons can be helpful. So you can kind of do that. This particular artist took a picture, and then you can even see it in the face and the eyes and the nose to get the position of everything, the feet, right? This woman, she wanted to paint this character who's obviously very stylized and has a lot going on here, but it's like, she wanted to get the pose right. So she's wearing kind of a outfit that could be a little more flappy, like the fabric. So you can see it in the shirt she's wearing, right? And then she's got kind of this kind of trying to mimic I don't know what you would call this, to be honest, a cape, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the right term, but and you can see the body language here. She's like hanging off of her, which looks like a staircase that's meant to be, and the real thing, it's like a pole, on the top of a church or something, looks like. But you can get the same idea. It's like you can see the body language, the use of the lines here and the folds, right? It's almost exact folds that are here. Position of the legs and the feet and the hands. So don't be afraid to use references. You can take your own references. You can find references if you'd like. Okay. So let's say you found a reference and you want to bring it into something like Tahoma as a reference photo. So what you'd want to do is in your project folder, put in the photos. I actually made a little area here called reference photos. So these are some sketches that, these could be like an example of like what you want to do. So let's say you prefer to draw it and then bring it into Tahoma. So let's say I want to bring in this photo of this woman, and then I'll transfer it. So what I would do is I'm going to make a special layer here, just called reference layer. The reason why is we're going to lock it so that we can draw on top of it. And then what I'm going to do is in Tahoma2D, I'm going to go to where it says File Browser, and I'm going to find the folder called Reference Photos, and let's bring in that reference photo. When you find it, right-click and choose the option that says Load. Okay, you're going to get something that looks like this. It's going to say doesn't belong in the current project. Do you want to import it? Just say import is fine, and then return back to the 2D. And you can see that the image has been brought in. If I want to resize the image, we're actually going to use a different tool here called the Animate tool. We're going to use the Animate tool later when we start talking about keyframes, but for now we can just use this to position, scale, or rotate the reference image. So this is my reference image. And what I'm going to do, make sure when you choose Animate that you have the right so you can see this made a special layer called reference. I guess I could use that instead of this. And make sure you have the right layer selected here. Currently it's set to position. There's also rotate and scale. I'm going to use position, and then when I use this tool, you can see I can reposition the image, right? If I wanted to increase the size of it, I would click on this option here and scroll down to where it says scale. This would now allow me to scale this image to make it bigger or smaller. And if you wanted to, you could also rotate it as well. This is the exact degree amount. So let's hypothetically say I like this. I'm going to move this down a little bit in terms of its position. Okay. Then what I might do is, because it's a reference, I might just kind of lower the opacity so I can see my own lines. And then I'm just going to lock it so I don't accidentally... The reason I'm doing this is so I don't accidentally move it. I also don't really want to draw anything permanent on this layer because I'm probably going to turn this layer off eventually. So I want to keep everything on a separate layer. And then what I'm just going to do is build your traditional kind of, your drawing tools here and just start to draw. So I'm going to kind of give myself a little more of a sketchy brush. I don't know. No, I don't like that. It's hard to find the right brush sometimes. Hairline. This would make it too watery. I don't want it too watery. What is marker? Sketch. Yeah, I'm just going to use a good old pen brush here. So now that I got this, then you just kind of come in here and you start to, draw your lines. A lot of this is going to be about the weight of your lines. So you want to think about the weight of your lines. I mean, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you get kind of the idea that you can kind of start. Make the lines a little bit thicker for her hair. Not that thick. Alright, so, you get kind of the idea. Just kind of have a reference photo. You can kind of use that reference photo. Kind of fill in your character. I like this particular one because it gives me kind of different weights here, which I think makes it look a little more natural. Alright. And then, you know, that's like my outline layer. Then I'd probably go back probably make a separate layer for paints and such, so, you know, I don't know, maybe I'll give her like a green dress. You can decide how textured you kind of want this to be. Whether you want it more painterly, whether you want it more, you know, exact. If you want it exact, you might want to do more of like a, you know, kind of a fill tool. I'm kind of going for more of a kind of a sketchy feel here. It's kind of up to you. All right. So that's kind of the idea. You know, you can get a reference, use it for when you're on, you know, use the reference photos to draw. If you want to draw and then bring it in, do that, draw your character. Okay?